Okay, so here we go. I'm going to break down the song part first before we get to the introduction, because a lot of the fundamental parts of the beat are incorporated in the beginning. So the first thing is the bass drum pattern. It's based off a fast eighth note triplet with the left foot falling on the third part of the triplet and the downbeat falling on your right foot. I recommend working this stuff really slow first. I've got the metronome set at about half tempo. So work it slow, and that way when you bring it up to tempo, it's going to be a lot cleaner. So here's a demonstration of the bass drum part. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty basic. Up to tempo, it's going to sound. So you get the idea there. The second part is the ride cymbal pattern, which is basically a 4-note triplet, eighth note triplets again. And what Alex does is he omits the third part of the triplet. So you're playing the one ta, the second ta is left out, and then the 2, you have one hit. So it's going to sound like this. So you practice that, and a good trick to learn the two together before you start combining them would be to play the ride pattern and put your left foot in the middle. So that's the tricky part, getting it clean and precise. Once you get the left foot in, you could even practice it with every left foot and just omit the right foot. So when you put the bass and a ride cymbal together, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next part is to put the snare drum in. Again, practice is slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there you go, you got the beat. So when you do everything up to speed, it's going to sound like this. The next thing that you're going to have to practice is going to be the accents throughout the song. They all fall, this part that I'm going to show you, they all fall on your left foot. So once again, put on the click track and it's going to be like this. So that's how that goes. You're going to eventually do the crashes with cymbals, but while you're learning it, it's good to try it with just your hands. If you're going to learn this part also, and before you get to the cymbals, you can play it with the snare and the floor tom, like this. So up to speed, it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how it goes. And so when you're playing the beat, this comes in the verses throughout the song. In context of the beat, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next thing I'm going to do is show you what I call the alternating accents. The last accents I showed you all landed on the left foot. These alternate between the left and the right. And I'll show you just the kick and the snare for right now, and you'll get an idea of where they go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. Another way you could practice this, because he does hit crashes with it, is before you stretch your arms out there, you can try it on the floor tom and the snare, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Then up to speed, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. And then eventually, once you get them up to speed, you can try them like. The last part you need to really master in order to play the song are the 8th note triplets. Now, I'm showing you these around 118, which is about half speed, but when you get them up to speed, they're going to sound really cool. So the way this is going to go, I'll show you with the bass drums, and you're just going to do the hands, which are kind of following what the metronome's doing. Those are 8th note triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are really difficult to play slow. What you're going to do after that, get it up to speed, which is about right here. And you're going to have to just practice that for hours until you get it. It's pretty difficult, because a way you could break it down to understand it a little bit better would be just to have the bass drum on the right going, and it's going to sound like this. And with a triplet, of course, since you're alternating, you're going to have accents on your right and your left alternating with the kick. So it's going to get pretty tricky, because with the triplets on top, you're going to have the third part of that triplet falling on different feet as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so there you go. He does this fill in this verse. He also uses it going around the rototoms. So, you know, you could just put it up and just practice going around all the toms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again. It's pretty tricky, but you can get through it. On this, if you're just starting out and you want to try to get through it without having to mess up, you could either omit the rolls or just play, maybe omit the second bass drum, you know. Either one of those would be good options. So that's basically the gist of the song. The only other thing I could really give you to practice for this would be a 4-note pattern on top of it, because he does do this at some of the stops, and that would go like this. And so what you could do to practice this again would be slow it down and then just do it on top of the bass drum pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see it's really difficult, again, slow. When you get it up to tempo, it would be. And once you get that going, you pretty much have all the parts of the song. So I'm just going to give you an example right now using all those parts, including the ride cymbal, the hi-hat, the crashes, the alternating crashes, and some of that stuff. So there you go. Okay, so once you get these parts mastered, you're ready to play the song. However, here are a couple of cheats that you can use to get you through until you do get all these techniques down. First thing is, you can use just a ride of quarter notes on the ride cymbal instead of the broken up triplets. So instead of, you can just do 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of the people I've seen play it live do it that way. So I'm going to play it up to speed now, and you're going to see that it doesn't make that much difference. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can get through it that way. Another cheat that you can do is instead of hitting all the accents with the left foot, you can do it left, right. That'll help you get through it until you can master hitting both those hands with your off foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can always use both hands until you can get it to the point where you can play it with both hands hitting on your left foot and alternating around the cymbals and so forth. Okay, now let's get into the intro. The intro part of this song has various tempos, so I'll try to break it down and not get too technical about it. The basic pattern is in the intro on a Simmons bass drum pad. He does do a section of 3 in that little first spurt where he goes away from like a 16th note feel to more of a. So the first thing he does is this. Now that pattern right there, you're going to do 6 times. So I'll demonstrate that for you. Then there's 2, I guess, 8th note hits. So I'll play just up to that part. And then is when you go into the more of a triplet feel. And then another 2. So let me play it up to that part. So once you get to that part, the same pattern that you played 6 times at the very top, he does it 4 times, a pattern of 6, a pattern of 3, and then a pattern of 4. And that's when the bass drums come in. So I'll do it again slow. So that's basically the intro. Then the bass drums come in. The trick to this is you're playing the same thing on the ride cymbal on the tom pad. So it goes like this. So that's what he does when the rototom accents come in. So to put it all together, I'll play it a medium tempo. then the ride cymbal pattern comes in. So I'll play it again for you, maybe a little bit slower. All right, so let me play the entire intro now for you, and hopefully this will help you figure it out. Just remember, a lot of this stuff on the Simmons pad is that broken up 4-note pattern that I showed you at the beginning of the beat. So here we go. So there you go, you got a good idea how this intro goes, you got the stuff to learn for the beat, so good luck and keep practicing, and I'll see you real soon on the road. Thanks a lot.